Good morning, folks. Good morning, friends. So welcome to my ad hoc rantings. Today I'm going to make two videos. Sorry, I have to straighten out before I start. Okay, starting now. Disregard what I said earlier. So anyways, I decided to write another chapter for that Animal Farm resurrection. Of course, this is an ongoing effort in development, if you will. So the ideas so far are pretty cool and pretty good, and you name it. These ideas of Animal Farm reflects the original Animal Farm that was written by Eric Arthur Blair, who's a brother of Stalin and Lenin and Trotsky and Netanyahu, for that matter. He was talking about something happened 1450 years ago. Well, you know what I'm talking about, right? Okay, good. And then I repeat, the cunning of it is he makes you think that he's talking about Lenin and no, Stalin and Trotsky. That's at least what that Englishman or whoever made an introduction to that novel said. He thought, like it's very obvious he's talking about Stalin and Trotsky. Oh, you're very good language. You got very good language there in that introduction. I wish I could do the same in speaking. In writing, I think I can do, but not in speaking. So nonetheless, eventually the cat was basically living in that Animal Farm, and there are many cats around, the cat was basically the brave element in society, in the society of Animal Farm, and there everybody is brave. Of course, they fight and so on and so forth. But the cat in particular was a little bit exhibited this extra. It was extraordinary in fighting, in bravery, in standing its ground, and so on. So now, Moses the crow, two legs good, two wings much better, right? had established this like shadowy network in the Animal Farm, and lo and behold, as I mentioned, what's his name, Mr. Jones or Eunice, was basically powerless. He was just a pictorial, a facade for the farm now, even though he built it and he owned it, and he and yet Moses the crow had like all kind of cunning and deception and tactics, shadowy tactics and ulterior motives. Yeah, he couldn't be straight, none whatsoever. He cannot. He because he was able to fly, right? Unlike any other animal in the farm, he considered himself as a real being because he was able to reach up into the sky where animals were stuck on Earth, right? Like he was able to fly very high. I don't know, like about 20 houses high or even higher, right? And he can even, he doesn't have to walk. So he considered himself above other animals. And then eventually, while standing up there, he noticed that that other animals and were doing the work and socializing and being creative and artistic and builders, and he couldn't like that. For him, it roused something like within himself that is something that is jealousy and covetousness, and like so in modern psychology it's called covetous antisocial. Like if you look at the DSM, that book of psychology, covetous antisocial is like that's the worst you can have. And it really appears in certain kind, like the Stalin, the brothers, the Stalin, the Hitler, the Castro, the Assads, the Ayatollahs, and Netanyahu's for that matter. Go research it, covetous antisocial. There are 14 personality disorders in the world. That covetous antisocial basically is exclusive for Moses the Crow. Now, don't hate me for using Moses the Crow. I didn't use it first. It was Eric Arthur Blair who used it, and I'm just reusing it again. Like, because now I can pinpoint. Eric Arthur Blair knew what it was, and he tried to get Moses the Crow outside of the picture when he knew that Moses the Crow was the source of all corruption, basic and simple, and all. He worked in riddle, right? And he tried always to be something of outworldly and so on and so on. At any rate, we saw how Moses the Crow, in order to defeat the cat, went out and in search in the wilderness and in the dumping grounds and so on, and slums, and he found this particular weasel, right? This particular creature, very timid. You raise them, you train them how to do things and so on and so forth. They're like dogs in personality, but they're very ferocious and has very quick reflexes, and basically they see nothing but blood and so on. But they're fast, and they attack other animals with impunity, like without fear. Small animals, of course, and even larger ones for that matter. They were observed attacking a monkey, much larger than they are, and they were able to bring it down, of course, and then start devouring its flesh very quickly. So now Moses the Crow found a very good candidate in this particular weasel, and he brought him back into the animal farm, and he started. That weasel basically ravished the livelihood of the animals. Those animals were basically faithful. They were professors, they were geniuses, they were scholars, they were judges, they were politicians. Oh, that animal farm that was built 1450 years ago, history of animal farms or animal kingdom has never witnessed like before. It was a new world or new animal farm. Excuse me. Wow, coffee. You have no idea how good coffee is for the body. Anyways, yeah. So so now, do you know how like Napoleon raised those dogs? Bred like very close to him, and he bred those dogs, and they always carried out his ill will and toward people. But that's of course an invention. Now, after domesticating bloodsucker weasel, bloodsucker of course being the first name and weasel being the last name. The bloodsucker weasel and what's his name? Moses the Crow went out in search again and found Mrs. Bloodsucker Weasel. He found quite few. He found quite few of them actually, and he brought them into the animal farm because he wanted to, because he knew Bloodsucker Weasel was not just like bloodthirsty and ravenous, has this ravenous appetite, and like lousy eater and so on. How he looked and drooled and so on and so forth. But he liked the idea, so he brought him Mrs. Bloodsucker Weasel, and then now he has like a whole slew of those weaslets, or like, and they grow all into like bloodsucker weasels, and now he's like, he controls the entire farm and its adjacent farms and so on, and right. But still, that Moses the Crow find it hard to get those bloodsucker weasels to beat the cats, right? Cats as well, they were all over the place, right? They were here and there. Their cats are peaceful. They eat rats and mice, and they eat, they prey on rodents, those like harmful to human life and so on. And they killed snakes. Have you ever seen a cat kill a snake? Oh man, whew. Yeah. Or a cat scaring an alligator back into the pond, like pushing an alligator back into the pond. No, not even bravest of human will do that, right? But they do. Cats are outworldly, like they come from heaven or something like that. And they're very courageous. And if you attack them, if anybody attacks them, no matter what the size of the animal or whatever it is, they never run. They stand there facing you. They never back down or flinch. And then when they get into battle, they're very quick and fast, and they make advances. They don't retreat. So all that still, Bloodsucker Weasel and his crew, which are part of the cabal of Moses the Crow, like his shadowy organizations and financial and religious, those awkwardly secret religions and so on and so forth. Finally, he knew he cannot get those cats, but then he figured out something. He figured out a scheme. He plotted a scheme. Moses the Crow has a lot of plots and scheming. Like he couldn't. Even if he went to sleep, like we, for example, in the Animal Farm Resurrection or Animal Farm, we dream, right, of good things, of bad things, of we have nightmares, we have good dreams, we love and so on. No, not Moses the Crow. When he went to sleep, his dreams were sort of scheming and plotting, like how to do this and how to undermine this and how to light up a war here, or how to steal $1 trillion by way of White House. I mean by barn or something, like that's, they go to sleep. They don't dream like we do, like the crows have their own ferocious and appetite and ability to blood suck and so on, and like manipulate. So in other words, Moses the Crow lives on the lives of others, basic and simple, got nothing else going. And not just that, he's got like psychological issues. Somehow it's inherent, like apparently the species, when they drift away from each other, right, this species takes this way, this species takes this way, at the same time they develop certain mentality and psyche. And that's what Moses the Crow is. Moses the Crow decided to, go that route. And you know what? It happens. But now the entire world of animal farms is bleeding because of that, right? There's like horror, there's insecurity, there's torture, there are gulags, there are so on and so. But then here's what this chapter is all about. Now, Moses the Crow figured out, in order to take the cats out, he took a lot of cats out, like millions and millions, hundreds of millions along the 1450 years of the life of Animal Farm, right? And then lately in the last century, for example, and there's something called communism. He took out like hundreds of millions. And prior to that, like Mongolism, hundreds of millions. And he was able to destroy an enormous sum of knowledge that was accumulated and invented and thought out by those animals in the Animal Farm. Now, he doesn't like learning and teaching and knowledge. Why doesn't he like that? Because an educated and a learned animal is hard to dominate and run like a dog. That's why he always strive on stripping humanity from ethics, family, competition, learning, you name it, right? You name it. But the only competition he encourages is when, he spurs others, or like incite violence, and then pit people against each other and they start killing each other. Then he relishes that, and he starts, like doing all kind of things, dancing and bobbing his head while crowing, and in happiness and so on. So now Moses the Crow finally was able to, and I'm not calling him Herzl in the modern day. Moses the Crow now basically was able to establish a higher level organization, meaning the crows, the crow cabal of crow of the shimmering plumage secret society, right? And now they all started wearing different kind of colors, like white and so on, and they started appearing like other birds and other animals. You can hardly find out, if this particular animal is really a crow or not, right? And they enjoy that, appearing as different animals. This is something similar to Shrek, like onion layers, on the outside he's something, and the second layer he's something else, and the third layer he's something else, and in the core he's all the most foul thing that has ever existed on the planet, period, in this life. That's what Shrek is talking about. So anyways, Shrek. So anyways, so now Moses the Crow thought out something very foul. He thought if he can get the entire animal kingdom to hate and attack the cats altogether, there may be a chance that he can just basically get rid of the cats, those pesky, independent, playful, aloof, loving, fluffy cats, that play and keep human being company, and they have this purring sound that relaxes their psyche and so on, and and they behave like when they interact with human, it's like one-to-one, not like dogs, being subservient, right? And that's what makes human love them more, is because it's like when humans interact with their cats, it's like they're interacting with another human. So now that said, he thought of something pretty foul. So he brought those weasels and dressed them up. He and his crew of crows, right? That organization that's all over the farms, right? They appear as poor people, as clowns, as like stooges, and they appear in all kind of shapes and forms. They began to race shift and shape shift and mind shift and all kind of shifts, right? Shifting, shape shifting and mind shifting and race shifting and education shifting and attitude shifting. But on the inside, it's really they're one and the same. So now he got something pretty bad, and he ran it by his council, or like top council, and they brought all these newly born weasels, right? And now they're in multitude, right? Yet they couldn't do anything with the cat. Their wild nature and subservience and so on to mankind, when mankind trained them, is something extraordinary, right? Like Moses the crow couldn't dream of better machine to utilize than those bloodsucker weasels. So now that said, he got some animals, like or he dressed them up. He brought those weasels and he taught them how to behave and meow like cats and so on, and he dressed them up like cats, and then he sent them out on terror missions, right? I mean, like foray into animal farm and so on, and they started murdering people while they're asleep and so on in a very vicious manner. He conspired with them and taught them that they need to do that in order to get rid of the cats, because those weasels hated the cat anyway. The cats were basically this one thing above, right, in bravery and reflexes and so on. So that's what he did in the last century and this century, and he started, sending those weasels dressed as cats, meowing like cats, and entering sometimes when animals were just sitting having like talking and in flight and whatever it is, and he would start killing people and animals would look at him, and eventually animals around the world, around the animal kingdom in the farms, began to look at those cats as something really bad, when the cats really had nothing to do with it, right? And they hated them so much. And then now Moses the crow noticed that, and then he had achieved something successful. So what he did very simply is immediately pass a lot of information and hatred into the heart of those people, and they attacked those cats, right? They succeeded in murdering a lot of animals, where cats are, and when they got to cats, they were able to kill some, but not all. Really, cats proved very resilient and very brave and courageous and so on. And then he keeps repeating that, and again, weasels would dress up like cats, meow like cats, and attack people, attack animals and their children and so on, where it hurts, but really cats have nothing to do with it. However, lately, as of late, as if in the animal kingdom, animals began to discover that those cats that are attacking them may not be cats at all. My friends, I think you get the message. What's happening in Moscow? What has happened in Moscow, what you animal kingdom have raised in Moscow, thinking that democracy weasel was rehabilitated, oh, that was a fatal mistake. I hope you wake up. I hope you go to Ukraine to fight that evil from the east. Next video is in regards to that. Have a nice day, my friend, and please give me your comments and opinions about this novel called Animal Farm Resurrection. And then now Animal Farm, like Moses the Crow and his Bloodsucker Weasels. And now he owns, of course, a lot of people like judges, like politicians, like business owners. I mean, he owns all the business now, not from the back end by way of stock market, right? And so on. Not everybody is guilty. No, I can't say that. Some people just fell into traps. Some people just tripped and faltered. Some people, and we're not perfect humans. Some of us are really. Some of those people are really bad. They have bad habits and so on. And Moses the Grow capitalizes on all that. And those who are obstinate and hard enough, he buys them out with cash from the stock market, like on account of others. He doesn't pay for it himself, right? And things of the sort. Like this whole fiasco of Moses the Crow is if he's the big brother, he's the devil, right? How do I know he's the devil? I'm not the first one to think so. If you read Wuthering Heights, you would see that Nellie describes Heathcliff at the end of when he died, sitting on his chair or something, that she was looking at a goblin. You may say she was that novel was talking about something else. Oh, no, no, no. That novel tells you who they're talking about, because Heathcliff left England and then came back again. Look again at that novel called Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. Read it again. Try to discern whom she's talking about and where and so on, and correlate that with the history of England. And oh man, that novel describes vividly of the events, like it summarizes the events vividly into something very concise and very understandable. But you just have to catch the end of the thread, and then the whole thing, falls into place. All the chips fall into place, and then you'll understand whom they're talking about. It's a real history, folks. And Nellie called Heathcliff like a goblin. When she looked at him, he was dead. And sure enough, he's a goblin. Have a nice day, my friends, and welcome to my ad hoc ranting. But this chapter is added now to the various chapters I put together in Animal Farm Resurrection.